Today, we're going to talk about older women who are nearing the end of their biological clock and how they fear men going their own way. We're going to discuss 6 reasons why women hitting the wall fear men who choose to go their own way and live the mgtow life instead of being with women. But before all of that, we need to go through some history. Women are naturally adapted to surviving. They'll always find a method to survive by modifying their surroundings and circumstances. The first cave woman understood she needed a companion because she could not survive on her own, and this is when it all started. She adapted to her circumstances and found that it was easier to survive by relying on a caveman to look out for her and offer her his treasures in exchange for the one valuable possession she had. The other cave women decided to emulate the first woman by using her resources to persuade a guy to protect and provide for them in the same ways that she had for that one particular thing that all of them had. The rest, as they say, is history. The same thing is happening today, where older single women will find a way to piggyback on the backs of men's labor and hard work and suck off the resources that they took years to create. Without further ado, here are 6 reasons why women hitting the wall fear men choosing to go their own way. Women have always survived with the help of men. This has been proven throughout human history, where women have managed to live without taking part in most wars or performing the majority of the taxing chores necessary to establish this civilization. However, despite all the crap for which men had to die, women eventually outnumbered men in the world. You are probably aware that women cannot survive for very long without men, and if it weren't for us standing up for them, they would have long ago disappeared. However, the reality still stands that they will use men as a method of survival, taking advantage of our vulnerabilities as their greatest strength. Women will always be able to exist off of men's sacrifices, resources, and protection until men get over their urge to bust and spread their seed. Men can only do it in order to prevent women from utilizing them to survive. Most men would have to quit protecting women in the future, acquire control of their desires, put their wallets away, and allow the government to handle their affairs. This alone explains why women have been able to live and adapt to the point where they outnumber men, and is the reason why the slogan "Women First" exists. However, times have changed, and we now live in a society where equality is the norm. With mgtow, men don't need to offer resources or protection to women. Men don't need to defend women any longer since they have the government to take care of them, and they also don't need to supply long-term resources since they can go out and bring home their own food. You don't understand women if you believe that they will simply die alone without any help. Just keep in mind that the monkey simps, hope strategists, and lonely single men who desire a partner outnumber us. We would need a lot more men to become RP and then choose to either go monk mode their own way or the free agent lifestyle. But that will never occur, to be perfectly honest. In this life, at least. Therefore, do not hold your breath. We are held hostage by women. So, believe me when I say that there will never be any change for the better for men. For instance, if a war broke out, we would have to take the shots and stabbings for them before they were ever required to grasp a gun and defend themselves. Lonely women will go to any length to be with men. Therefore, women will always outlive men. Now, even if some women will live alone, are you certain this will be the case until their passing? I want you to give this some serious thought. They will, in fact, be single. Although it seems most likely, how confident are you that they won't experience loneliness in the future? Because, if you stop to think about it, a sizable and expanding segment of men and young men are single and lonely because their counterparts aren't interested in them. Accordingly, and on the basis of the research that is currently available, many of these older single women hitting the wall now will still be able to lure thirsty and lonely men. They will instead find a way to adapt and survive by using what's between their legs. Instead, they will adapt and prey on lonely young guys and unmarried men who are unable to attract women in their age group. Women know they can't lure mgtow men. But with men going their own way, their only true asset is not going to help them, and that's what scares them the most. So, they don't die by themselves. You guys have to realize that a man will always be willing to ignore warning signs in order to establish intimacy. This shows how intense the want for companionship or relief is for males, and tragically, far too many of them are prepared to settle for anything less than pure release. Therefore, even if we want women to learn their lesson, the sad truth is that too many men are willing to give up everything they have fought so hard for in order for those men's need for intimacy. I'm sorry to break it to you, but if you think that most men will wake up and decide to end relationships despite knowing the red pill, you are mistaken. Even the guys who quit their relationships will ultimately come back into one, especially if they can't understand this red pill message anymore. Hold the line and hold the fort, for the few of you who are determined to remain unmarried and pass away alone. Just know that you will have to give up your independence, serenity, and quiet as soon as you decide to return to the plantation. If you're okay with that, carry out your duties. Almost half of the female population is going to be single and lonely. Do you know that by 2030, it's expected that a growing number of women will be single? In a recent piece, it was predicted that by 2030, 45% of American women would be unmarried. It will definitely happen, gentlemen. There will be many ladies in the future who will be alone. It may not be 45 anymore. Now, that doesn't necessarily imply that they won't be piped the hell down. No. They will be engaging in polyculture to a large extent in addition to accomplishing that. That is definitely present already, so as time goes on, I anticipate it becoming more common. However, that is gradually disintegrating and disappearing in terms of women getting married and monogamous relationships. As a result, expect to see more older women who are single living alone and with pets in the future than ever before. Divorces are on the rise, leading to more men going their way. Many of these women are currently divorcing their marriages between the ages of 50 and 60, still believing they will be able to find men to marry. If they believe they'll come back on the market at 60, bypass the line with all these young and middle-aged women, and find a new husband, they're in for an unpleasant surprise. The definition of a deluded woman is an older lady who believes she will divorce her spouse and find a new man to devote himself to her and take care of her. Most guys won't marry off an elderly woman who already has one foot in the grave. Tell me if most of the older ladies in your family and the people around you who are older than you are still married or have had stable relationships. Majority of them didn't just be aware that many of you will live to witness your bitter ex-wife, vengeful ex-wife, or the lady who did you wrong face the results of her actions. Single young men who are unable to find any women in their generation or age group will prevent the demise of older single women. As I've already stated, though, women will always find a way to survive, and the young guys who are the incel virgins will save them. We have young men with plenty of free time, energy, and future earning potential. For mature females, that is great real estate. Instead of an older man who wouldn't have the energy to accomplish it, these women would have someone who could look after them and their health for a longer period of time. They'll receive a young man who is full of energy to be intimate with and who can support them for decades without dipping into a retirement account. I realize that's something we don't like to think about. If these young men are desperate enough, and based on the percentage of males who are still virgins, the number of men in cells who want to be with women, and the other men who sincerely desire a relationship, I believe the pendulum will swing in their favor. So, these were reasons why women hitting the wall fear men who choose to go their own way. Do you have any reasons that you want to add? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Please like the video, and subscribe to the channel for more content.